February 27th.
Oh, yeah. I don't have it though. They didn't put it on paperwork.
I think we usually do this when, kind of backwards. Is it possible to make it already at 4 5 and then still, if we're still in jail because they haven't put on the prison calendar?
You know what?
No, so I mean, the officer isn't here for Mr. Henry.
Oh, that's
the problem.
Edwards.
That's the problem.
Well, you can,
You get what I'm going, I wanna
you
make
still
that.
wanna have a prelim, have a bond.
Exactly, because if he's still here,
We've done that before.
that's what I wanna do, let's just do it on first at one.
As long as the bond's not granted.
I mean, the bond, as long as he doesn't pay it, technically, he still has a right. I mean, even if you have a bond set by law, as long as you don't have it, I mean, as long as you don't bond out, you still have you're entitled to the hearing. So, I mean, we could.
I'm on your side, I'll buy that.
But you know, we still proper evidence, because I can't really have a bond hearing without hearing the
Well, that's
evidence.
true.
Yeah, just so you know.
Right.
Because people are always surprised, or attorneys are always surprised when I say, I need them to tell me something, because I
Right.
can't just have a bond hearing.
Which for me, I think he can proper evidence regarding the legal factors, IALA factors based on the GCI system.
That
No,
actually judge, as
about
far as the
these
factual
charges.
basis,
Oh, you
yes.
talking about
Yes.
As far as that factual basis, I cannot, unfortunately, I don't have enough.
Essentially, I wanna work out a deal. I wanna do something reasonable. Mr. Gaines, obviously, he's a breadwinner for his family. I mean,
We're not having to hear it right
yeah, exactly. But you get where I'm going, right? We got
No.
that issue. And I know Mr. Smith did.
Pretty here.
I'm
Yeah.
working.
He's trying to do something. Yeah, I can't.
So yes, you can do that, but I would still have to have some evidence submitted, because I can't grant bond without hearing anything.
Sorry.
I'm just gonna call these missing witnesses, to see if they're here. Bert, Gunter is here, right? Okay. Kendall, Shirley, and I'm missing attorneys Lawrence Lewis and Barry King. Larimore,
Larimore is here, Judge.
where?
Somerville is for Larimore.
Somerville? You're here for Larimore?
You're on.
You didn't say that, that's where Siobhan Haley?
Okay, I'm sorry, Judge. This is Somerville, the officer Somerville's only for the robbery charge.
Okay. So we still need Larimore.
Let's see what she thinks.
Judge, I'm staying ready when you're recorded.
Okay, I'm just looking for witnesses in order. We'll start with Christopher Britt.
Let me get Britt.
On your case, though, right?
Officer Warren.
Okay, this is the state of Georgia versus Christopher Britt, warrant number 23W03522, possession of methamphetamine, and 23W03523, possession and use of drug-related objects. Mr. Smith, your witness on stand, you swear in for the case.
Thank you, Officer. I sir, please raise your right hand. You swear or affirm your testimony in this matter will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God.
I do.
Thank you. Please introduce yourself to the court.
Officer Warwick, Swanee Police Department.
Officer Warren, how long have you been with Swanee?
1 year.
1 year. Post-certified, sir?
Yes, sir.
You got the warrants in this case.
I did, sir.
Tell us what caused you to got the warrants.
On February 28th, I was informed by another officer of the department that he had observed Mr. Brick walking down North 20. He was familiar with Mr. Brick. They saw prior interactions where he ran from him and you had a warrant out for his arrest. Myself and other officers beginning checked in CIC, verified the warrants were still active, began looking for him throughout the city, checked into a few hotels, found out he was staying with family at one of the hotels. They contacted the family, they informed us that he was currently at the local Walmart. So we went down to Walmart. We met with loss prevention, who was actually monitoring him on the cameras at the time. As he was exiting the building, I walked up while he was walking and texting. I said his name. He responded, yeah. Immediately, we secured his wrist. Immediately began placing him in handcuffs, informing him that he had a warrant for his arrest. He was somewhat resistant, but we were finally able to get him handcuffed. We took him out, searched him incident to arrest. During that, we found 2 pipes. One of them we swabbed, test positive for meth. The other one, it didn't come back with a result, but he did admit to smoking marijuana out of it. We also found a white bottle with a baggie of meth that we did fill test, so we tested positive on the scene as well. The warrant was confirmed as well out of Barrow County. And we transported to Gwinnett County.
Okay. So you said the 2 pipes that were found, one was swabbed for meth and it was positive for meth, correct?
Yes, sir.
Those 2 pipes, where were those located on the defendant?
They were in his pockets.
Okay. The white bottle that you were referring to, where was that located?
In his pockets. Yeah, in his pockets.
Okay. And that white bottle you said contained, what did it contain?
A bag with a crystal substance that tested positive for meth.
Okay. Is your interaction recorded body cam or otherwise?
Body cameras.
All right. And who else was present with you?
Officer Hout,
Thanks for that.
H-A-U-P-T,
One more time.
H-A-U-P-T, Papa Tango.
Thanks. And this Walmart location, where is it at?
3245 Larsville Swanee Road in Swanee, Missouri.
That is in Gwinnett County, correct?
Yes, sir.
And the individual that you observed, that you detained, you see here in the courtroom?
Yes, he's sitting to my left in a orange jumpsuit.
Thank you, sir. No further questions at this time, Dennis.
Go ahead, Mr. Rowe.
Just briefly, you mentioned that you swab tested the pipe, is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay, and the swab test, what is that specific?
We just took a cotton swab, stuck it down in the pipe, spun it around, and then burnt the end off and put it in a methamphetamine nicotine.
Okay. And also with regard to the crystal-like substance, and I believe you said you located that in his pocket, is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay, did you weigh it?
It was weighed after we put it in evidence.
And what was the weight of that?
I do not have the weight. Yeah, so.
Okay. All right, and you said that was also NIC tested, is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Was that NIC tested at the scene, or was it?
On the scene.
Okay, all right. I have no further questions.
Thank you. Any additional witnesses?
No, Your Honor.
Any witnesses, Mr. Rowe?
No, Your Honor.
Any objections to this witness being excused?
No.
Thank you. You agree, argument?
I would like to be, no argument, but I would like to hear it on the issue of bond.
Okay, so as to warrant number 23W03522, possession of meth, and 03523, drug-related, part 5 suspicion probable cause has been established, and both will be bound over as charged. Go ahead.
As it stands, Mr. Britt is currently being incarcerated at the Gwinnett County Jail since February 28th. He has lived in and around the Gwinnett County area for the last 6 years. He was homeless at the time that he was arrested. I obviously heard a little bit of that in evidence in terms of the family basically leading him to the Walmart where Mr. Britt was at the time. Mr. Britt is not a risk to flee. According to my notes, has no failure to appear, has no history of obstruction. He is on probation, admittedly. Obviously, that was the reason as to why he had the initial interaction with the police. I would argue at this point in time that the court set a bond in the aggregate amount of $25 million so that Mr. Britt could obviously move on and address the charges elsewhere and resolve that and deal with this issue in Gwinnett County.
Thank you. Ms. Smith?
Yeah, as far as criminal history, this defendant does have a record. I show a guilty felony possession of methamphetamine 2019. Same time, a driving while suspended misdemeanor. Willful obstruction misdemeanor in 2019, different case. Possession of methamphetamine felony 2019, that's the second case. Death by shoplifting misdemeanor 2020. Shoplifting 2021 misdemeanor. That's the full extent of the criminal history. Your Honor, I would say that there is not a significant tie to the community, particularly dealing with this defendant's residency issues and the risk to be offending based off of the prior record. The state will not consider bond, but I will refer to the court.
Thank you. The court is going to grant the request for bond on the possession. It's going to be $3,000. There's already a bond on the drug related for $1,000, so that'll be a total of $4,000. Anything further?
Nothing stated.
Thank you. Next we'll have Randolph Nimmer.
Matter with the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth, so God.
I do.
Thank you. Please introduce yourself to the court.
Officer Templeton, City of Snowville Police Department.
How long you been in Snowville?
About a year.
Post certified?
Yes, sir.
Check out these warrants.
I warrant. Yes, sir.
Check out one. You're familiar with the other?
Only one.
There's only one, sorry. Give me 1 second.
Yes.
Check out this warrant. Okay. You see the defendant here in the courtroom?
Yes. Gentleman on my left.
Which
In the green jumpsuit.
Thank you, sir. All right, tell us what caused you to take out this warrant.
On March 6th of this year, I got dispatched to the lobby of my police department. I spoke with the victim, Mr. Stephen Demadeo. He stated that he had Mr. Nimmer living inside his residence. Stated that he was a guest of his wife. They're going through some sort of marital issues. Demadeo said that Mr. Nimmer was very rude and confrontational from the beginning, and some threats were made. One of the threats during one of the encounters stated something along the lines of "better not fuck with me or I will put you in the grave." This was overheard by the victim's mother, and both have signed sworn statements. The next day, Mr. Nimmer approached Mr. Demadeo. They had another argument about his presence inside the residence, to which Mr. Demadeo stated that he asked Mr. Nimmers to leave the residence, and Mr. Nimmers stated that he's established residency. Mr. Demadeo threatened to call 911, to which I guess it threat. Excuse me. To which Mr. Demadeo stated that Mr. Nimmers advised that there will be an escalation of events, and reached into his waistline where Mr. Demadeo advised that he observed a small black and colored handgun. Describing the handgun, he advised that it was smaller than a full size that the patrol officers carry. I guess another encounter, things escalated. Mr. Demadeo grabbed Mr. Nimmers' wrist to prevent him from pulling out the handgun. Mr. Nunes was still able to present the handgun. The handgun was never pointed at the victim due to the victim now being behind, I guess, struggling to keep the gun away. After that encounter, the two separated and Mr. Dominic came to the police department and spoke with me. I got a signed warrant by one of the judges from the county, and patrol officers went to serve the warrant. Mr. Dominic stated that Mr. Nimmer would still be at the residence with his wife, Mr. Dominic's wife. So a patrol went to 1271 Green Curve Drive, knocked on the door. Mr. Nimmer and his mother were out having dinner. We observed Mr. Nimmer with the wife and advised that he was under arrest for the warrant. Mr. Nimmer retreated back inside the residence and negotiations started. Eventually, and after numerous times of being advised that he was under arrest, Mr. Nimmer stated that patrol would have to come into the residence in order to arrest him. Mr. Dominic was contacted and gave patrol officers permission to enter the residence by unlocking the front door remotely. Mr. Nimmers was taken into custody without issue at that point in time. There was no handgun on him, but towards the end of the encounter, I was advised by my patrol lieutenant, Lieutenant Rankin, that a small black colored handgun was located in one of the locked bedroom doors. Mr. Dominic gave consent to search for the weapon, and the weapon was confiscated and is now within the city of Snellville. Yes, sir.
So you said that the gun was located inside the bedroom?
Yes, sir.
The bedroom was locked?
Yep.
From the outside or inside?
From my understanding, the bedroom was locked from the outside. It's one of those push lock, I believe, where the defendant locked it and then proceeded to walk out, locking the door behind.
Continue, sorry, I didn't interrupt.
Like I said, the handgun that was found matched the description that the victim provided and was confiscated and put into evidence.
And just to be clear, so when given lawful command, you're under arrest, come out, the defendant did not do so?
The defendant did not. He retreated back into the residence, closing the front door behind him. We were able to communicate through the windows and advise him numerous times. Mr. Nunes didn't believe that there was a arrest warrant. It was shown several times, and he was given multiple commands by both City of Snellville officers as well as Gwinnett County Showman to assist.
Thank you, sir. No further questions? Oh, I'm sorry, no, take it back. You stated so firstly, this 1271 Green Turf Drive, that's in Snellville, Georgia.
Yes, sir.
That's in Gwinnett County.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Secondly, the initial event, the better not F with me or I'll put you in the grave, that threat occurred on which day?
From my understanding, it was day previous, so it would have been March 5th this year.
5th. And that threat was heard by the victim's mother, is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So it sounded like you said that there was a second threat about considering an escalation.
Yes.
Okay. Describe that threat.
According to my report, Mr. Nimmers stated that he paid Courtney, which is the wife, $1, which made him a resident. To which Mr. Damadeo said that that's not true and threatened to call 911. At that point, Mr. Nimmer reached, well, according to Mr. Damadeo and Mr. Nimmer, I said that calling 911 would be an escalation of events and reached into his waistline where the handgun was located.
Okay. All right, thank you. No further questions.
Mr. Ron?
Good morning, Officer Tony. I do have some questions. Obviously, this warrant was taken out at 1271 Green Turf Drive in Snellville, Georgia. Who owns that home?
According to Mr. Damadeo, it's his house, but because he's married to Courtney, it's kind of seen as a shared property.
All right, so I want to be clear on this. Did you ever take a look at the deed to see who owned the house?
I did not.
Your Honor, I reject this one, there's relevancy, there's no issue with,
Well, you let me finish my.
Okay, go
ahead.
there's no issue with, again, burglary, loitering, not being present where you're supposed to be, assignations, terrorist threats.
I think it'll provide some context for this entire interaction.
Hello.
So did you ever take a look at the deed to see who actually owned the home?
I did not.
Or who had equity in the home?
I did not.
Or who had permission to allow anyone in outside of the residence?
Well, my guess is since Mr. Dalmadeo remotely unlocked the front door, he had access to the residence.
No, I'm not asking you about who had access to the residence. I'm just asking you about who had permission to allow anyone in and out of the residence.
I'm not aware.
Okay, all right. Now, you mentioned that Mr. Dalmadeo was married, and he was married to Ms. Courtney Dalmadeo, is that correct? And did you ever talk about what the relationship was at the time of this incident between Mr. Dalmadeo and Ms. Courtney Dalmadeo?
According to what I remember about this case, Mr. Dalmadeo stated that Courtney had an affair, moved out of the residence, and was seeing the defendant. Due to some sort of allegations, Courtney came back to the residence, and Mr. Dalmadeo allowed her access to the residence due to having a small child in common.
Okay, all right. So were they going through a divorce, or were they still together? What was the status of the relationship?
I believe they're separated but living together.
Okay, they were separated but living together.
Yes, sir.
All right, now, were they sleeping separately somewhere inside the house?
I don't know.
Did you ever ask?
I don't know.
Okay, all right, and the reason why I'm asking this question is you did mention that you located a handgun, which matched a description that was related to some alleged tussle. Is that correct?
Correct.
All right, and where did you say that bedroom was inside of the house?
The bedroom, if you're looking at the house, is on the second floor to the right-hand side.
All right, second floor to the right-hand side, and inside of that bedroom, what kind of clothing or?
Like I said, it was Lieutenant Rankin that found the handgun.
After the answer. You have that back there?
Yes, Your Honor, relevance.
Oh, to the extent that they're essentially saying that this handgun matched the description of some other handgun, which is the entire basis for one of the allegations in the warrant.
That's not correct, Your Honor, this is terrorist threats, this is dealing with the verbal statements that were made by this defendant, the witness that heard it, not about, he's not being charged with the handgun or any other charge, Judge.
Well, I think the
I know, but it's sort of tied to the handgun because he alleged that he went in. I'll allow it.
Sure. All right, so I want to get an understanding. Inside of this bedroom, what was there?
Like I said, Lieutenant Rankin is the one that went upstairs. I was outside with the defendant.
Okay. Now, so you don't know who slept in that bedroom, and you don't know who was typically occupying that bedroom. Is that right?
No.
Okay. Now, with regard to the handgun, did you ever run the serial number to see the registered owner of that?
So the state doesn't keep records of serial numbers and who owns them. But the serial number did come back clean.
Okay, so clean handgun. All right. Now, there was some mention of Mr. Nimmer, or at least the defendant, I think you stated, leaving that bedroom and locking the door behind him. Did you see that?
I did not.
Okay, and I believe you said there was another officer with you. What was his name?
We had multiple officers on scene.
Okay, so who was making the allegation that Mr. Nimmer is the person who actually locked that bedroom door?
It was just stated that, Mr. Nimmer was observed walking back and forth from one bedroom to the next upstairs. Ms. Dalmadeo stated that the door to that bedroom is generally not locked. So it was a little bit odd that that door was locked. And it was unlocked.
But you never saw Mr. Nimmer lock it,
I did
correct?
not.
Okay, all right, and no one, according to your report, actually saw Mr. Nimmer lock it, is that correct?
Correct.
All right. Now, was Mr. Nimmer the only person inside the house at the time that you arrived?
The wife.
I'm sorry?
The wife and the child.
So there were 3 people inside the house.
Yes.
Okay. Now, Courtney, who you also mentioned may have had some shared ownership in this home, did she seem to have a problem with Mr. Nimmer being there?
No.
Okay. All right. And there's also this incident, I guess, this alleged tussle over a gun. Did that happen on March 6th or did that happen on March 5th?
I believe that encounter happened on March 6th.
Okay, so March 6th, and that's the date that you actually encountered Mr. Nimmer, is that correct?
Me personally, yes.
Okay, is there a Ring doorbell camera at that house?
I don't know.
This alleged tussle, where did it happen? Did it happen inside of the house, in front of the house, where?
It happened inside the house.
Okay. All right, and did you ever speak with Ms. Courtney Dalmadeo regarding this alleged tussle?
From my recollection, we tried, but she wouldn't provide a statement.
Okay, so essentially the only proof of this alleged tussle comes from Mr. Dalmadeo, is that correct?
Correct.
Okay. Now, was it your understanding that Mr. Nimmer had he had basically stayed the night at the home, is that correct?
From my understanding, Mr. Nimmer kind of moved into the residence.
Okay, so he was living there with Mr. Dalmadeo's, I guess technically his wife, correct?
From my understanding, it's the mother, Mr. Dalmadeo, Courtney, Mr. Nimmers, and the child.
Okay. All right, and then there was, I guess, an incident on March 5th. I think your alleged statement was, better not fuck with me or I'll put you in the grave. Is that correct?
According to Mr. Dalmadeo, yes, sir.
So according to Mr. Dalmadeo, did you ever speak with Ms. Courtney Dalmadeo to confirm that happened?
My first encounter with Ms. Courtney was on March 6th, so she was on the scene.
Okay. All right. I have no further questions.
But that statement was confirmed by.
By the mother.
Ms. Courtney. Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
I have no further questions.
Any additional questions?
No, Your Honor.
Okay. Any objections, witness being excused?
No,
Thank you. Good readout. Any additional witnesses for the state?
no, Your Honor.
Mr. Rupp,
No, Your Honor.
argument?
No argument. I'm pretty sure it's probably probable cause of that.
Okay.
Your
So-
Honor, the state would make the argument, obviously, with the terrorist threats, I believe that should be bound over, but also that obstruction should be charged in this matter, Judge.
Oh, okay.
Oh, obstruction.
Under 161024, misdemeanor obstruction, lawful commands was given, the individual retreated back into the home, would not follow the commands, come out, even after he was shown the warrant, took the time to get him out. That's obstruction of justice.
I won't make any argument.
Okay, there it is. So, we'll have to add the charge, and I don't know how they do that, but the court will add the charge of local obstruction under 161024, and terrorist threats will also be bound over 23W04027. Mr. Rupp,
I would like to be heard on the issue.
go ahead.
Mr. Nimmer has lived in the Atlanta area since 2018. He was a software engineer up until February of 2023, when he was essentially laid off because Family Medical Leave Act basically expired. He was run out of time. Mr. Nimmer has some serious health conditions, diagnosed with cystic fibrosis. I think if you take a look at his criminal history, there is no criminal history. So he is not at risk of committing any kind of additional felonies. He doesn't have any failure to appear, so he is not a risk to plea. I believe, obviously, with regard to his risk to intimidate any potential witnesses or obstruct the administration of justice, I believe Mr. Nimmer would agree to any kind of special conditions or bond to stay away from the residence and not contact.
Where's it gonna stay?
I'm sorry, he actually lives at 2883 Gwinnett Drive Northeast. He actually owns a home there. So, yeah, he does have a home that he can go to.
What was he staying there?
Say again?
What was he staying there?
I think the evidence kind of, as a testimony, essentially he was carrying on a relationship with Ms. Courtney Dalmadeo, and she lived and owned that home. So that was the entire point for me asking about the ownership of the home.
Okay.
And so essentially he had the right to do that. So we would, and obviously we've got, I've got a number of letters from Mr. Nimmer's family members who are from Wisconsin. They emailed me notarized letters of support for Mr. Nimmer. Miss Jan Rivers, who is a family member, is here in attendance for Mr. Nimmer. He's not going to receive the kind of medical treatment that he needs at the jail. We know about the overcrowding, we know about the understaffing at the jail. So we just, and considering the criminal history, facts of the case, weight of the evidence, we would ask that the court set a reasonable bond in the amount of $2,500, so that Mr. Nimmer can get the medical treatment that he needs, and obviously fight these charges on the outside.
Thank you.
Your Honor, Mr. Clement has no criminal history. That is correct. I would refer to the court. I would suggest in order to stay away from the victim and from that residence location. That's it.